Hey everyone, it's Breneman here. I am coming to you today to talk about teenagers and just some simple tips on helping you navigate those teenage years and involving your relationship with your teenager. I am a mom of three. I have two teenagers. I have a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old, and then I have an 11-year-old. So I have quite the gap between my second and third. And I'm navigating these teenage years, and I woke up this morning thinking, yeah, I should share some things because let's face it, as a mom of young children, there are options. You know, you have play groups for your toddlers and you have mom church. But as a mom of teenagers, there's not really much out there. And I would love to hear how you navigate this season with your teenager. I know that we can help each other in this. There was a time where when my kids were little, I was kind of scared of teenagers. They intimidated me. But as a mom, I will just say, for those of you with young children, know that you will grow as a mom. It could still feel very new. Someone said having a teenager is like bringing home a newborn baby again. You're thinking, oh my goodness, what do I do? What do I do now? But you do grow into it and you learn, and you're not going to be perfect. But it is a lot of fun. It is such a fun season. You are seeing your children turn into adults. Sometimes they are making decisions that you totally agree with, sometimes not so much, but they are sharing their hopes and dreams with you, and you're navigating school possibilities and career possibilities with them. So there's so many great things about teenagers. But you know, if you're a mom of teenagers, you're going to know this. There are times where you feel very grieved because you know that this season is coming to an end, and it kind of hits you at times. I could be like looking at a photo album of long ago or such, and that just nostalgia just hits me. It's such a precious time when our kids are growing up. But it can be hard too, that season of letting go. And so I wanted to share the story. I remember when my children were younger, and you know how you just want them all close to you. And I said, Mom, how do you let your kids go? How do you do this? And she said, oh, God has a way. And I thought, yeah, I kind of tucked that in. And over the years, I've thought about that. And now that I have teenagers, I can assure you that God has made a way so that you will be ready for this release, but it's still grievous. So just have a few tips here. So tips and let me just say, if I haven't said it before, I forget if I've said it or not. I'm not perfect. My relationship with my teenagers are not perfect, but I do have a relationship with them, and I feel that they love me. They love being around me for the most part. And so I've got that going for me. Anyway, pray for your teenagers, right? Pray for your children. I love this book. It's called 65 Promises from God for Your Child. And in it, you are going to be praying the word of God over your children's life. Number 2, hug. This is another one that can go throughout the ages. When your child hugs you, you let them be the ones to first release. That means that you're going to stand there with your arms around them. You're not going to be in a hurry to leave. You're going to wait until they release and they're ready to move on. I will say that one of my 2-year-olds, I did this with them since they were little. I was hugged for 15 minutes. I sat there for 15 minutes, and then all of a sudden they got up and moved, and that was that. All right, make sure your teenager has food and they have, sleep. Sometimes they don't realize that their blood sugar is going a little wonky, and they need their blood sugar stabilized with food. So you'll have to help them realize when that's occurring, so they will have good healthy snacks, because they can't live, or they think they can live on Doritos and Dr. Pepper, but they really can't. And sleep is important as well. Right, facial expressions. This one is my favorite one, because when my kids enter teenage years and they would share with me things about school or what's going on with their life, I remember in a way I want my facial expression to be like, what? Are you kidding me? But it was like, I heard that inner voice like, nope, Laura, don't overreact. Keep your facial expressions looking very calm and collected, like, oh, is that true? Oh, okay. Yes, okay. So facial expression, that's important. Teaching points. Sometimes when you're in a moment of tension, that's not always the best time to have a teaching point. Sometimes you need to, as my husband says, we get to choose to be the adult. I remember that. So you can choose to be the adult, and sometimes you might just need to step away from a discussion and bring it back up, though, maybe the next day or a few days later or even a week later. You don't have to be right now as the parent. This is something that we're learning about. Okay, so teaching points, make them short and sweet. I mean, you've got about 15 seconds and you're done. Throughout the day, if you can just, put in those little teaching points without them really knowing, that would be great. Picture stories, picture analogies are great for teenagers as well. I have said to my children before, we are in a relay race with you, that your dad and I have been running. We're passing the baton to you. And right now, that section where the relay racers, they both have the batons. That's where we are with you right now. We are all holding this baton. It's just this short little season that we're holding this with you. And pretty soon you're going to be able to take off and run with that baton all by yourself. But just know this is just a short little season. So hang in there with us. We are your biggest fans. All right. My next tip is to use your years of driving your kids around wisely. That is super precious time. And I'm already past, two. I have 2 drivers now. They don't need me to drive them around anymore. And you know what? That makes me sad. I'm kind of surprised because it's a very busy season taking your kids around and driving them to sports or clubs or friends' house. But I'm telling you, it is such a precious time. Use it wisely. When you have that one-on-one time with your teenager and they're sitting in the passenger seat and you guys are driving, there's something about it that they let their guard down and they will open up to you. All right, next tip, be available. That means that you can have some late nights talking to your teenager. It could mean that you're working on a project and your teenager is coming around, and so you might want to set that down and be available to your teenager. This next one I alluded to already, and that is to remind them often that you are on their team. We say that to our kids quite often. We are on your team. We are your biggest fans. No one is going to cheer you on more than us, your family. All right, these are for parents. So, parents of teenagers, it is so important that you find friends, that you hang out with friends that are in the same season. It's not something that you have to go and gripe about your teenagers. I'm not saying that. I don't agree with that at all. But you are going to want to be around people who are in that same season. There is just something about it to be able to have that community of like-minded people going through the same thing of grieving and letting go, but being excited that your children are entering a new season of their life. And my last tip is find a hobby. If being an empty nester is if you're struggling with that, I would say find a hobby, volunteer, or even find a side hustle job that you can do that will give you purpose and just kind of use up some of your spare time so that you're not, thinking too hard about missed opportunities or whatnot, or just missing your children. It's good to use that energy to help others. There's plenty of people who can be helped in and around your community. And for me, I use my side hustle as that. And I still, have children at home, but I realize what's coming ahead. And so I'm preparing now and getting that underway. All right. I hope you all found value in this. This was definitely out of my comfort zone. Love on your teenagers. They're just such a special time. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.